Mixing with my career building tip: persistence. Persistence is a, a word that came up recently because in working with some of my students and helping them to develop their careers and helping them to not just make better mixes, but also make a living at what they're doing. There are always points along the way where people will have disappointment, where things won't work out as you planned. Things don't line up the way that you expect to, and especially when you kind of go into an industry like the music industry, where there are a lot of people out there trying to do it. What is it that is the difference between somebody who is successful and makes a career and someone who is not successful or gives up? And the difference is persistence, because it's really easy to look at when you start reading articles on the music industry, and it's like you can only do this way, you can only do it that way, and you can only do this if you have record company backing, and blah 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 blah. And the problem with that is that you kind of get caught up in what you can't do instead of just kind of keeping your nose to the grindstone and continuing to move forward. And this doesn't mean that when you're, like, say, promoting your brand or trying to establish a brand for your mixing work or your mastering work or your music production work or whatever it is, or when you're trying to get people to know who you are, to find you on the internet, to establish or build a client base. The only way that you do this, the way that you sell your music, the way that you do anything, is through persistence, consistency. You have to be continually creating new product. You have to continually be putting it out there, and you have to consistently give a message, because sometimes you can have like a big number of people on an email list, and you'll have somebody on your email list who sees your emails and they have no idea, like, what's at the bottom of the email or anything beyond just whatever the title is. And one day they read it and think, oh my God, this is what I've been looking for all this time. And 6 months later, 800 emails later, they finally buy in to what it is that you're selling or what you have going on. And that's where the consistency is really important. It's the persistence. It's like keeping at it. Just keep going. Just keep forging forward. Not letting those periods where you have disappointment and things aren't working out as quickly or as the way that you want, you kind of push through it a little bit. Kind of move on. Just continue to march on and continue to work. And from there, the more you push on, the more you want. It's not like you're just going to do the same thing over and over again mindlessly. You're looking and you're constantly saying, well, what is the difference here? Like, if I do these three different things, what am I getting the most response from? And then you start to feed that a little bit and kind of play with that and try different things and keep, doing different things until you find out what people are really responding to. What is it that's drawing people in? And the only way that you can get to find those small little keys, those subtle shifts in the way that you put together an email, or the way that you format your Twitter feed, whatever it is, that when you find whatever that message is, that voice that kind of works, then you can start to develop it and kind of work it and build it and build it and build it. And slowly over time, you will gradually start to build more and more of a following, and not just this sort of fly by night following, but a consistent following. People who really are into what you're doing, who are looking for that next thing that you put out because they're interested in all the previous things that you've done. And then at some point, you'll reach what's called a tipping point. And at that tipping point, then things will start to kind of go on their own, and the engine just sort of drives itself. But pushing it up the hill, that's the thing. And that's the hardest part, but it's persistence that allows you to get there. Don't give up along the way. Just keep going. All right, this is Mixing with Mike. Career building tip: persistence.